Happy holidays, wonderful humans. My name is Anthony,
My name is Eric.
and we are the Board Game Dads back with another Christmas special.
Our
In case you
second
missed it,
second
second
one.
one. That's right. Last week we did stocking stuffers,
Yep.
gifts for gamers. So be sure to check that one out. Today, a bit of a unique theme. Would you say so?
Uh, it's actually not that unique when because it's reskins, right? So you make a game and then you're like, oh, I'm gonna come up with another game, and you're just lazy about it, and you just slap a theme like Christmas on top of this old game. I mean, I'm still gonna buy it if I like the old game, so I think it's great, but it's lazy. It's not that unique.
Yeah, that's true. It could be considered a money grab.
Yeah.
But everybody loves Christmas, so it kind of makes sense.
Not everybody, but lots of us.
Most people.
Not everybody celebrates.
No, that's true. So reskin in a game is sort of the equivalent of regifting something, right? You're sort of recycling it. You get it one year, next year you wrap it up in different paper. Make sure you take the tag off in case the name was still there, and you give it to somebody else.
Not really. It's like if you take a gift that you get and then you add something stupid to it, right? Maybe you get a T-shirt and then you add like a little mustache and then you give it to somebody. It's the same shirt, it's just a tiny little difference. It doesn't change anything. Um, but like, so for instance, this shirt right here, I want to believe, right? I didn't wear this
Uh-huh.
on purpose. It was actually just luck. This is a reskin of, the classic UFO poster where you have like, I want to believe in aliens, but this has got, Santa Claus and his 8 tiny reindeer. So it's a reskin of that, I don't know,
That's it. That's clever.
1960s something.
Isn't that the X Files thing? Oh no, that's the truth is
No, I
out
think
there.
that was way before that, but I don't always know what I'm talking about. So maybe
Fair
could be
point.
from X-Files. I feel like it's from like when like alien movies started getting real popular. But when was that? Was that the 60s, 70s, 80s? Or was that like X-Files? you know, don't know. Let's edit a whole bunch of that out.
A topic for another day.
Yep.
But today's focus is on Christmas reskin games. So these are games that you probably know about already, but maybe you didn't know there is a Christmas version of them, and that'll be our focus for today. But before we talk about any of these games, Eric, you've got a bit o trivia for us.
I do. I have I have this little guy right here, Christmas trivia game.
Mm,
And it's just got a bunch of trivia questions. So I'm just going to read a few of them off throughout the video and see how you do here. They're
all
not
right,
super easy, but they're not that difficult.
all right, fire
All right.
away.
This one has to do with Christmas carols. In the Royal Guardsman song Snoopy's Christmas, how cold is it when Snoopy takes off?
What the actual temperature? Oh boy, 30 below.
Oh, that's close. It's actually 40 below. But
Ah, okay.
that's the Snoopy takes off at 40 below.
Mm.
All right, all right. What does the Grinch have in his smile in How the Grinch Stole Christmas?
Termites.
That is correct.
Yeah.
All right. Is mistletoe poisonous?
Yes.
It is poisonous. That's weird that they would have that question because if it wasn't, that would be, like a waste of a question. Like,
Yeah.
is Santa Claus poisonous? What? Why would you ask that? All right, one more, and then we'll get to some games.
All right.
All right. How do you say Merry Christmas in New Zealand?
You say Merry Christmas.
Yeah, what a stupid question. Oh, you could
Well,
say with an
that's like a riddle, I guess. You're
Yeah.
trying to make someone think that it's something else.
All right, one more because that one was so stupid. Um, oh, here's a good one. What is Mr. Parker's sweepstake major award in A Christmas Story?
The lamp.
Well, not just any old lamp, the
The
leg
leg
lamp,
lamp. Yeah. The
Fragile.
major
All right,
award.
so there's a few. We'll try to remember to do a couple more, but let's get into some games. Do you have any honorable mentions? Because I'll be honest with you, I don't. Oh, I do actually. I just thought of one.
Oh.
Animal Upon Animal, I believe, has a Christmas reskin, like Christmas
Oh.
trees, maybe snowmen and reindeer. So the pieces right now are still a little too small for Zoe to play with.
Mm.
So we haven't gotten it, but probably by next year, if she starts playing with we have I think, a unicorn one. So
Hmm.
if she starts playing with it and enjoys it, we'll probably get the Christmas one next year.
Well, now you've been doing the Hava Advent calendar with her,
We
right?
have, yep.
Are
She
those
she likes it. They're not. They're pretty thick,
okay?
but they're not necessarily like some of the animals they use in Animal Upon Animal are designed to have a lot of like spaces to
Right,
put other things on top. These are all fairly small, so like you'd have to have like two or three on the bottom just as a base. Um,
gotcha.
but it's cool. We did stack them. We had to use some of our other wooden pieces, but we did stack them.
That will happen.
Yeah. All right. So, do you have an honorable mention?
I really don't think so. Um, this as much as we joked, this is not like a very popular thing that happens. There's not a
Yeah.
Christmas version of like every game. Um, but I don't know. I'm sure there's a Christmas Monopoly out there.
Oh yeah. But would you recommend that to
No,
somebody? That's
I
not
would not.
honorable. It said honorable mentions.
Our friend, this is just made me think of this. Our friend John, uh, Whitey, was at a board game restaurant cafe a few days ago called Hex and Company in New York City
Okay.
with his girlfriend and a couple other friends. And he texted me and was like, there's four of us. Any recommendations? And I was like, oh, it's a loaded question, but I gave him like three or four. Like I couldn't look. They didn't have like their collection posted online or anything, so I couldn't like browse to what they actually had at that place. But I mentioned like three or four things, and then a good amount of time went by, and he responded. He's like, "We're playing Monopoly," and I was like, "What? No!" I was like,
Man.
I'm coming with you next time."
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
I had a family member ask me the other day. They were like, "Hey, like right before we were leaving, they're like, "Hey, I know you like board games. Like, we're gonna have some people over to play, some games. Like, what would you suggest?" And I was like, "Like this is amazing. Like, I'm so excited." And they're not gamers, and I was like, "Oh, okay. Like, well, what kind of game?" And basically what I got from them is that they want to have fun. They have maybe like 12 people that want to play this game and they have zero gaming experience. And they mentioned Cards Against Humanity, which
Mhm.
I was like, this is like, I guess, one of the games that I would suggest for that kind of a party. But I guess since they already had that, I didn't want to suggest it. So I did a little bit of research and I suggested Time's Up and Concept. Both
Nice.
similar, right, with the charade style game,
Hmm.
but I'm waiting to hear back to see how that went over. And I expect Melissa will get the text that says, "Oh yeah, we just couldn't find it and we ended up playing Cards Against Humanity." But I tried.
There you go. That's all you can do.
Yeah. And for
You
12
you
people,
you can
it's
lead a
slim
person to a
pickings.
game, but
Slim pickings.
yeah, that's true. Man, for non gamers too, maybe
Yeah.
Spyfall.
I thought of that, and I think it was only up to 8.
Yeah, that might be true.
Yeah. All right. So let's get started with some games. The first game I'm going to mention, we've talked about this before, and we'll probably talk about it again. Holiday Flux. And Flux is designed by Andrew Looney from Looney Labs Games. Um, it's 2 to 5 players. And you can play it in anywhere between like 5 and 30 minutes, I guess. It
Hmm.
depends on how the game goes and how many people are playing. And it's for ages 8 and up. So it's a card game, and there's 5 different types of cards. Only really 3 of them are going to come out that often. You get your keeper cards, your new rules cards, your goal cards, and then some action cards, which will do random stuff. But you can change the rules, right? There's one rule of the game. It's draw a card, play a card.
Right.
And sometimes you can change that to draw 2 and play 3, or different things like that will affect how your turn's going to go. And then you can play a goal card, which are these pink cards. And then you have these other cards, these green cards, which are keepers, which are basically like resources. You play it, you put them out in front of you. And once you play a goal card that you have all the keepers out,
Hmm.
you win. And it's quick, it's pretty simple, but it's got a lot of really cool Christmassy artwork. Now it also it's got some Hanukkah stuff. It's got I think that at least one Kwanzaa goal card,
Okay.
um, a New Year's Eve card. Thanksgiving, Halloween, and I think that's it. I
But
don't
it's
know.
the majority is Christmas, right? Like the
Right,
biggest
but
chunk.
it's basically Halloween through New Year's. I don't think Valentine's Day or Easter or St. Patrick's Day or any of those are in it. It's primarily these end of the season holidays altogether. And it's
Hmm.
cool. And there is a card in there that I think it's a rule card, but you get like a perk if you play that card and the day that you're playing the game is a holiday. So if you're going to play a quick game on like Christmas Eve or Christmas Day or something like that, and you pull this one out, that card could come up and it could be like, hey, you know what? That's cool that it came up. But
Right.
otherwise, it's flux. You can get, 100 different types of this game with different themes, and
Yeah, this is the king of
we're
reskin.
all going to
This
be
game.
okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
They're all
this
basically the
one
same.
this one, it's real simple, right? Because it's just cards, and most of the cards from game to game are all going to be very, very similar, different names, maybe slightly different things, but
Right.
it's a reskin.
Yeah, and it's quirky, and each one I think has like a slight variation to a rule or two, right? Or like a goal that might be different. Like
Right.
I have the zombie one, for example, and the zombie keepers or the zombie creepers they're called in that game come in like one, two, three, or four of a set, and one of the one of the goal cards to win is called I think zombie baseball team. So you have to have 9 zombies in front of you, and you win.
Nice.
So that kind of little stuff is going to vary from version to version. But yeah, this is a great one for non gamers because it's really easy to teach, and like you
Just
said, it's just cards.
just 9 zombies?
I think so.
I guess that is the National League team.
Yeah,
You have a 10th one in there.
there's
All right,
no DH.
moving forward. What do you got next?
Moving forward. All right, moving on. So next one is another game that we have definitely mentioned before, but probably not as often, not
I
as
think we've
often as
mentioned
Slugs.
all the games we're going to talk about. We've mentioned somewhat of
Yeah,
a reskin in the past.
yeah, yeah. So this is a tile laying game, abstract strategy, patchwork, 2-player only. This is by Uwe Rosenberg, and this, of course, is the Christmas edition of this. So a pretty much straight up reskin of the original game. The biggest difference being in the artwork. So if you're not familiar with patchwork at all, it's 2 players only. Each player has a little grid in front of them, and you're drafting these polyomino type pieces to fill up your quilt. You're trying to fill up all the spaces if you can, and each piece that you buy costs a different amount of currency, which is the buttons, but they're also going to move you along this time track, hoping to get closer to the end of the time track, and then you get some extra pieces to add as well.
And
So
at various points in the game, you're going to move forward past a certain spot, and you're going to gain more buttons so that you're constantly gaining buttons to spend them.
right, right. And the biggest difference, like I said, the artwork here, which I really do love in this one because it's all like Christmas wrapping paper
Yeah.
and bows and stuff and tags and things like that. So, you know, I like this game a lot. I don't mind owning more than one copy because we like the game so much and it doesn't change that much, right? So if it's Christmas time, play the Christmas version. So, summertime, 4th of July, we got the Americana version. Halloween version just came out. Of course, it came out after Halloween, but it is what it is.
No, it
But
came out before Halloween.
oh, did it?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, because we got that one played, I think, possibly Halloween night.
all right. Well, I stand corrected. I did not get mine until after Halloween. But basically, this is a nice, relaxing game, but it has enough strategy that it's not like completely mindless, right? Like you're certainly thinking about what to do.
So to that point, you're right. It's very simple game. I considered getting this for my parents. Now, my parents are not gamers. I got them 2 games last year. One of them I don't think they touched, but they played Quirkle.
Hmm.
So I thought about what could I get them this year, and I thought about getting them a patchwork, but I just don't think it's going to work out because you have to remember the biggest complaint I have is remembering to move that little meeple, the Christmas tree meeple,
Yeah.
to where you just took and especially towards the end when all these tiles around the board, because this is how the game is set up with all these tiles around, and you can only pick one of the first 3 after that meeple going
Hmm.
clockwise.
Hmm.
But once you pick that one, you put your meeple there. it starts if you start forgetting it, it gets a little confusing remembering where you were supposed to go or where you were
Yep.
supposed to be.
Yep.
And just because of that one rule, I did not get this one from my parents. I didn't think that they were going to be able to really keep up well and remember to do that. And then they would just start arguing,
Yeah.
lovingly arguing.
That's true. And I mean, you're not going to sit there and like facilitate a two-player game every time
Right.
they want to play.
But it is simple enough that it was considered for my 70-plus-year-old parents.
There you go. A brutal game when it comes to scoring, though. So you often win this game with a negative score. You get -2 points for every blank space you have at the end of the game, and that can be quite devastating
Yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah.
So there's that. All right, you want to do a couple more trivia's before we get to the?
Oh, yeah, I forgot. All right, let me do a couple here. All right. Okay. If you receive a mogwai for Christmas, don't let him get wet. And
And oh, you want to know the other stipulations?
I do.
Uh,
One stipulation.
don't feed them after midnight.
That is correct. And what's that from?
Gremlins,
Yeah, yeah. All right.
underrated Christmas movie.
Is it a Christmas movie?
Yeah,
I haven't seen it in a long time because Die Hard is a Christmas movie. It's
because
got
it
a
takes
lot of
place on
Christmas in it.
Christmas.
No, there's a
Yeah.
lot of Christmas decorations at a Christmas party. A lot of the one-liners have to do with Christmas. There's the music as well. There's a lot of Christmas thrown into that movie. I haven't seen Gremlins in a long time. I don't remember if it's the same or not. Okay. According to Perry Como, what can't you beat for the holidays?
Home. There's no place like home for the holidays.
For the holidays, you can't beat
Home sweet home.
rice. Okay. All right. All right. Why does Tim Allen have to be Santa in the Santa Claus?
Because he killed the real Santa.
Pretty grim, bro. He knocked Santa off the roof. He
doesn't-
disappeared.
He doesn't die?
I don't know. He just disappears. And then
Yeah.
the suit's there, and the guy's running around naked or just magically floated away. All right. Let's do one more. All right. All right. This is similar to the other one. In How the Grinch Stole Christmas, what is the Grinch as cuddly as?
Cactus.
That is correct. All right. My next game, and we've talked about this one before as well.
Mhm.
Another card game. That's all it is a card game. It's Munchkin. So there's Munchkin, and as you can see in the first picture, I have just the box for holiday surprise, but there's actually Christmas Light and holiday surprise. Now, Munchkin Christmas Light is a streamlined version of Munchkin where you
Hmm.
can play it with just that. It only plays three or four players, but you can play it as as a base game.
So it's just like a smaller deck of cards?
Yeah, it's I think 116 cards or 112 cards instead of like 168.
Hmm.
And then Munchkin Holiday Surprise is a compilation of a bunch of Christmas promos and boosters. So just a bunch of expansions that came out that you could add to whatever Munchkin game you have.
Okay.
So I got both of them, and now I just have a larger Munchkin that's Christmas themed.
Hmm.
The game is, let's see, Steve Jackson, another Steve Jackson game. We've talked about him before.
Mhm.
3 to 6 players, ages 10 and up, plays in about 90 minutes. This game can play for half an hour. This game can play, for like it said, an hour and a half, 90 minutes. It just, there's a lot going on.
Yeah.
Not
yeah.
really. There's not a lot going on, but if somebody's getting close to winning, everybody else is going to team up on them and knock them down a few pegs.
Mhm.
And if that just keeps happening, you just keep on spending more and more time playing the game. The best part about this game, so real quick, it's a hand management card game with a lot of take that.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
best part about this game is the artwork.
Mhm.
And it's funny, right? Like if you look at some of these, the top left, mistletoe, right? That's a different, like a word play on mistletoe. And there's armor and things like that. And it's really, really cool. And bottom right, you got the Jingle Bell Rock. You know that's clever, right? It's
Yeah,
a
no,
rock with
these
jingle bells on it.
cards, yeah, they
And it
definitely make you chuckle while you're playing this game for sure.
yeah. So there's a lot of cool artwork and cards, and these are I think the treasure cards that. So the way the game plays is, first thing you do is you kick in the door and you reveal a door card, and some of those are the next cards. Some of those could be monsters, and then you have to try and fight them with whatever cards you have in your hand, plus whatever you have laid out in front of you as like your armor and stuff. And just waiting for you. Oh, there we go.
Sorry.
It's all right. And so some of these again, really cool artwork and Manta Claus, and you got the Frost Giants, just a big snowman. It's funny. It's not the best game. If you're a gamer, you probably scoff when somebody mentions Munchkin.
Yeah, yeah.
But when you have three to five players, and they're not all gamers, and even with kids, because kids are going to want to be like, haha, take that. They're going to really enjoy this kind of thing, and it's fun. It doesn't get played very often because most of the time we play games, it's just me and my wife, so it's only
Mhm.
two-player games. So this one's pretty much on the shelf of forgetfulness. It's not the shelf of shame, but it's just we forget to look at this shelf when we're looking for a new game to play.
Yeah, yeah.
But I
I
definitely recommend it as a Christmas time. If you can get 3 to 5 people, not all of them are gamers. This is pretty simple and fun.
Yeah, we used to play this game a whole lot. This was definitely one that was an early acquisition of mine, at least when I first got into the hobby,
Oh yeah,
and to the point where I had a few versions, and I eventually sold a couple because I didn't need that many. But to your point, man, is there a lot of versions of this game?
oh yeah.
I
It's
love. I wonder which one has more, this or Flux.
I was thinking that I'm gonna guess Flux, but that is an uneducated guess. It's
Mm.
just pulled straight out of my pocket.
But I do want Manta Claus on a T-shirt. I think that's
Right?
fantastic.
A lot of this artwork I would take on a t-shirt.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So that's Holiday Munchkin. We got one more game.
Let me go. Let me do a couple more trivia questions here.
All
All right.
right, let's do it.
Okay. According to legend, whom will you dream of if you place a fruitcake under your pillow at night?
Your grandma?
The person you're going to marry.
Huh,
I did not know that.
I never heard that.
Okay. All right. Who celebrated Christmas on the good ship Beagle in 1832?
I have
Charles.
no idea.
I didn't know that either.
Oh,
I just read it, and by the time I was halfway through, and I realized this is a pretty tough question, it's too late. All right, one more, and then you're going to talk about the final game. Okay, what is a Tom, a gobbler, or a Jake?
turkey?
Not just any turkey,
Christmas turkey?
a male turkey.
Ah,
Ah. All right.
yeah. Males are the only males make the gobble sound. I think.
I was just going to go with Tom Turkey. Right. I don't know who that is. I just remember it from I think I think it was in one of the Simpsons Christmas episodes. It was like a parody of Linus and the Great Pumpkin, but it was Millhouse and the Tom Turkey. Yeah,
I think the turkey float in the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade is also named Tom.
I think you're right. All right, go
All
for it.
right. On to the final pick, another reskin and another game that we have certainly mentioned before, but it is a really good fit. In fact, I think you actually mentioned this one on our last Christmas video, which was last
I
week.
did. I did.
Yeah. And this is Letters to Santa, which is basically a reskin of Love Letter. So, Love Letter is a small card game again, and it's basically just hand management, but there's not a whole lot of hand management because you only have two cards in your hand at any given time, but there's a little bit of deduction going on as well. This one comes in a nice little Santa pouch here, as you can see. Although, sadly, the version I have is in a box and not in this little bag.
Oh,
So
really?
there's that. Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
man. You know, I was like, I want to take a picture of this game hanging from the tree because it comes in a bag, it'll look perfect. So I had to make sure I put it right next to the rancid ornament.
Nice.
But yeah, I didn't know that yours came in a box. Man, I feel lucky that mine's in a bag because it's cool. Like it's
Yeah.
not going to go on the shelf. It's going to go like in like the little cubby hole with all the other tiny games.
Right, 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 right. I
And
have the original version I have is in a red little bag like this.
okay,
But
of
it's not.
letters to Santa or of
No,
love
the
letter.
regular love letter, the
Gotcha.
regular version. In a love letter or letters to Santa, you're just trying to get the most points. And the way you do that is by basically being the last person standing in each round. So the way that you will get kicked out or eliminated every round is there's a couple ways that'll happen. But basically, if the whole deck runs out, and by whole deck, I mean what, 16 cards or something like that, whoever has the highest rank card left in their hand will then win that round and take a point token. But otherwise, there's different ways to do it. Besides that, you can also, if you play in this version the Krampus card, which is the value 1, you get to try to guess what another player has in their hand. And if you guess correctly, you knock them out. Besides the Krampus, there's a few other holiday Christmas, icons here. You've got obviously Santa Claus and Mrs. Claus that are the highest ranking ones. And we've got the snowman, gingerbread man, reindeer, elf, and toys. And yeah, this is the fun one. It's simple. Again, one that I've taught many times to non-gamers, and it usually goes over very well. When I taught board game club after school, kids like this game too. And it's just the right amount of deduction that you know you don't feel like you're getting bested all the time because there's a lot of open information. So when you play a card, the card stays out on the table, and you can kind of see what's left. Now you can't perfectly guess it because there's always one card that you keep out of the round when you deal the card. So there's one like burnt card, but for the most part, you can kind of figure out what's going on, and that's where the challenge is. We decided to make this our facts game. This is our proprietary ranking system here, where we've got a possible 2 points for each letter here, and then we'll get an overall score at the end. So, starting with the F, Eric, what do you got?
Is this game fun for the family? Now, I've mostly played this game at 2, and it is not fun at 2. I haven't often played it with more than that, but yes, as long as your kids don't mind take that. If they embrace, like trying to get somebody else and aren't gonna get upset when, they get eliminated during one of the then yeah, it could be fun for the family. I don't know
Mm,
that I'm gonna give it an entire 2 points. What do
okay.
you think?
Yeah, no, I was going to say maybe one.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair.
All right. And A, does it appeal to all ages? This is, if we're talking about this one specifically, right? The Christmas one, I would say yes, for sure.
I agree. I would go
If
so much as to give this a 2 because it really, like it's just a deck of cards and not even a deck. It's like 20 cards or something like that and
Yeah,
a couple of red cubes.
maybe a full on two for this. What do you
I give
think?
this a 2. Yep.
All right, cool. And leading into the components, as you kind of already mentioned, there's
Right.
not a whole lot to this game.
No, I mean, the bag is awesome,
Hmm.
but apparently they don't all come in a bag. So the cubes are pretty boring and the
Yeah.
cards they're regular cards. So nothing crazy, nothing too bad. I would say right in the middle, give this a 1 for components.
Okay. This is begging for some upgraded little cubes that look like presents
Yeah,
for sure.
I
All right.
agree. Anything
On
really, even
on to
stars.
teachability. Yeah, well, I think in the I think it's in the original one it's still little cubes. Although in the Batman one it's little cool bat signal
Oh yeah,
tokens. Those are kind of
that's
cool.
true.
All right, teachability. How quickly can you get this played? Because it's pretty small, you can teach this game pretty quickly. You've got a nice reference card here that'll tell you all the cards in the game, what their power is, what their value is, and how many of them there are. So a lot of information is presented to the players here, which makes it easy to teach and facilitate. I mean, I guess there could be a little bit of discrepancy with some of the stuff, so maybe a 1.5 for this one.
Yeah, I wouldn't say this is all the way up to a 2 because there's 8 different cards that you have to remember how each of them interacts with the other cards, and it's not necessarily the easiest game to teach, but it's certainly not difficult by any means.
Right.
So yeah, 1.5.
Got it. All right. What's last?
And finally, the skill set involved. I'll let you take this one.
All right. Well, I mean, I think
It's
that
very, this is again, this is very similar to teachability with such a simple game. Just like components was very similar to the appeal.
right, right. But this game does teach deduction.
Right.
I found that it was a good talking point when I was doing it with the kids because especially when they're all first learning, as me as the facilitator, there was a lot of talking out loud, a lot of pointing out, hey, there's only, two gingerbread cards in the game. Susie already played one, so there's only one left. Maybe you don't guess that one, like guess a card that there's a higher probability of doing. So you've got probability a little bit, and you've got just some deduction skills here. And because it's so simple, this is a good game to teach that type of thing because then it can be used in other games that are a little more involved that have this sort of deduction thing as a smaller portion. So skill
Like
set, I'm gonna 1.5 on this, I think.
I'm okay with that. I was going to say the same reason that I kind of knocked teachability because there's a number of different cards that you need to learn, and that's the main is just the same for skill set, but it's a bonus in skill set because now it's like, well, you have to learn all these things.
Right.
So like a little bit off for teachability, but a little bit up for skill set for the
There you go.
same thing.
So have you been keeping track? Do we have a total score?
I have not been keeping track.
All right, real quick. We said I think a one
We
for
got
the F.
4, 5, 6, 7. I think 7. Right,
Three.
1, 2, 1, 1.5, and 1.5.
Math.
7's a pretty solid score for this game because it's so tiny.
7 is a solid score for any game, but for
All right,
sure.
I got a few more. All right, so this one I'm going to ask you because I know you love the Beatles. Which Beatle became engaged on Christmas Day, 1967? Bonus
George.
points if you can name the wife.
George.
That is incorrect.
No.
It's Paul McCartney to Jane Asher.
Mm.
All right. What is Santa Claus more commonly called in Britain?
Saint Nick.
Father Christmas.
Mm.
Father Christmas, give us some money. All right, couple more. In the 1964 classic Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, who wanted to be a dentist?
Oh, the elf.
I'm
Hermie.
afraid there was a lot of. Okay, I'm looking for a name here. All right, final. Circling back. What reason do the Royal Guardsmen give for the Red Baron's decision not to shoot down Snoopy in Snoopy's Christmas? Why he didn't shoot, we'll never know. That's the reason we'll never know.
I was gonna say it's kind of a trick.
I was surprised that a lot of these are kind of like trick questions. But how do you say Merry Christmas in New Zealand? Merry Christmas.
Oh, all right. I like this though. I think we should bust these out next week too.
All right, let's do it. Especially these because I have some other ones and they're all really simple. There's some difficult ones in there.
Nice. All right, friends. I hope you've enjoyed the Christmas shenanigans so far on this episode of our Christmas spectacular or special, whatever you want to call it. We'll be back next week and the week after that. So we've got 2 more, another 4 top holiday series for you here.
So next week is going to be intellectual property Christmas, right? Like I just mentioned Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. We mentioned A Christmas Story. games focused on, the shows, movies, and specials that we all have come to love.
So be on the lookout for that next week. Uh, please let us know in the comments below what your favorite Christmas reskin is of a game. I'd love to hear if there's any other ones that we didn't mention. I'm sure there's a couple that
Oh,
we
I'm
don't
sure
know
there's
about.
plenty.
And be sure to like and subscribe and check in the comments. Sorry, in the video description here, we do have links to our other Christmas videos, but also some links to last year where I did some solo videos about gift giving ideas saying, you like this game, here's a game that you can give as a gift. So check those out as well.
Speaking of, I know I talked earlier about Patchwork, how I was considering getting that for my parents. I got Blockus, whatever, Duo. So it's just the
Hmm.
two-player version of that. And I think that's going to work out. So after all was said and done, for my 70-year-old parents that don't game, but they play like Scrabble and now Quirkle since last Christmas, that's my pick of the year. Blockus Duo.
There you go. You heard it here first. All right, folks. That's it for now. We'll see you on the next one.
Yep.
Merry Christmas.
Happy Hanukkah. It's not Christmas yet.
But Hanukkah's over.
So can't say Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Hanukkah,
Happy
Merry Christmas.
holidays.
I like to save my Merry Christmas for the final video.
Hmm. All right.
Feliz Navidad.